Today, it's Melvin's MOT, and to be honest, I have no idea whether he's going to pass or not. So why don't I have any idea whether my own car that I drive every day is going to pass the MOT? Well, I haven't exactly been keeping track of everything over the last couple of months, just busyness and stuff and just events. So over the last 3 months or so, I've not been looking at brake pads or looking at tyres really, apart from the pressures or anything like that. But before we go, there are just a few things I just want to check and make sure are okay. And I'm sorry about that light, it's buzzing like hell because it's knackered. That's nothing to do with my terrible editing skills, it's all his fault. First things first, I'm going to check coolant and oil, obviously, because that's just sensible. And, well, to be fair, there's no point in checking brake fluid because I haven't got any brake fluid. If it's low, it has to stay low, there's no point looking. My oil leak from this corner of the rocker cover gasket is still there, no matter how many times I try and do it. I think there is something actually wrong with the cam cover itself or with the mating face on the cylinder head. So I'm going to clean that off and then I'm going to wash it down and hope the MOT's tester doesn't notice. I don't think that would be a failure. I think that might just be a advisory saying, look, there's quite a hefty oil leak there, but better safe than sorry, so let's do that. So I have given him a glug of oil because of course there's an oil leak, so a little bit comes out, but giving him a quick glug of oil, coolant's fine. There's no point checking anything else on the engine because I couldn't do anything about it now anyway. I'm going to get the hose on this bit here and then we'll get going. My other worry is that there was an exhaust leak as an advisory last time, and it hasn't gotten any worse, but I am taking it to a different tester, so I have no idea. Also, emissions. It'll definitely fail on emissions because it definitely will fail on emissions. It'll need to be turned way down because I have a feeling anyway that it's not running way too rich, it's running fine, but I think it's running just a little bit too much, and I think it might just take it over the limit. But hopefully it'll be okay, and if it does fail, and just turn it down a bit. They do have anti-tamper things on the mixture control KAF carburetors, but this one's had a carb rebuild, as you will have seen in previous videos, so that doesn't have the anti-tamper thing anymore, so you can just put a screwdriver in and turn it down. So yeah, hopefully it'll be okay. It is a beautiful sunny day, so hopefully Melvin will at least look shining on the outside to the tester. That should do. Come on, Melvin, there you go. Perfect, there we go. Let's get going. Well, that was a little bit unexpected, but understandable, to be honest. When I was sat on the driveway about to leave, in fact the last shot, you'll have just seen that, I read that the government had put a 6-month grace period on MOTs. So, you know, cars that MOTs expire after the 30th of March, they can have 6 months where they don't have an MOT but don't get done for it. So, but my MOT's already booked in. I was having the brake fluid done as well, so I took it anyway. But the guy at the garage said, and quite understandably, that he's stopping doing MOTs for cars that are eligible for the grace period. So, yeah, so Melvin hasn't had his MOT. Anticlimax. He hasn't failed yet. That'll come a couple of months late. That'll come in a couple of months. But yeah, so next step is oil change. Well, I was going to change the oil, but it's a bit too lovely for that, so I've done some gardening and now I'm enjoying myself. It'll probably be tomorrow I do the oil change, or maybe the day after, or maybe the day after that. Don't need the car at the moment. It's really making me slack. Right, here we go with the odd jobs begin. And first of all, God, it's warm in this car. I've just bought it in the garage and bloody hell it's warm in here. First of all is that when I was getting in the car the other day, I was putting something in the back and nicked the seat with my key, and that's a disaster. My mad 30-year-old seat with their awesome colourful pattern seems to be disintegrating in front of me. So there you go. That was easy. Right, so I am going to change Melvin's oil because I'm an indecisive little git and I have the time, so I might as well. Let me just angle that down. There you go, now you can actually see the entirety of the car. I need to jack it up. I've already got the bonnet popped, as you can see. The rear wheels are chocked with bricks. Use jack stands, use axle stands, don't be a prat. It would be best to do this with the car on the ground, but I can't fit my drain pan under the car properly. So I'm having to drain it while it's jacked up, but the drain for a K-Series is on the front of the sump, which means that there will be a bit of oil sat in the back of the sump a little bit. So that's not brilliant, but I'm not overly bothered. The oil is relatively clean anyway, so I'm not massively fussed. Here is said drain pan. Here are axle stands. Right, there we go. I like to leave the jack under the front jack pad, just slightly below it, so that if, I don't know, the axle stands fail for any reason, the jack is still there. It's just an extra little bit of support and you might as well use it. So, drain pan. I have had the engine running, but only for about 30-40 seconds or so, just to loosen up the oil a little bit and make it drain a little bit quicker. Right, this will be really wobbly, but I'm sure you can see that now. Sump plug. That is coming off. Well, here it comes. There you go. Not perfect, but very nearly. I've got a new sump plug and new washer to go on, so I'm not too bothered about that. Put that down there and let that drain away. While I'm here and the oil's draining, I'm going to clean up the oil filter a little bit, just to make it a little bit cleaner, because it does have loads of oil on it because of that oil leak from the rocker cover gasket, which I was going to repair before I changed the oil. That's why I've left it until now. But I can't seem to get it fixed, so I might need to buy a new rocker cover, whatever, but I'm going to clean that up. The oil is now slowed down to a tiny little trickle, so I'll show you. They're not up there. My new, not that, sump plug with 5 washers, so 5 oil changes really. You should change the washer every time. I haven't done because I just haven't had one on hand, so there you go, new one that will be going on. You can tell that this new sump plug is slightly different. It's a better design because look at the size difference. They are the same, they do fit. However, this one's got a much bigger, much deeper head on it, so that it's easier to grip onto and easier to get off when you've had 6 months of driving round salty roads and loads of crap getting on the front of your sump. Well, I do have a tool to take off oil filters, but it's a crap tool. I also have grippy work gloves. I'm going to see if I can just about get it off just by hand using these. I don't fancy using that tool, which just spins and then ends up creating a small hole in the oil filter, and then I have to end up poking a screwdriver through the side. Because I'm me, and I'm completely incompetent. Right, new sump plug didn't want to go on. Don't know why. Maybe it's different, maybe they changed the K-series sump plug at some point. But yeah, didn't want to go on. So I put the old one back on with a new washer. Right, oil filter time. I'm not taking you with me on this one because I can't be arsed and it's going to be too much, so I'll see if we can get it off with these mad gloves. Ooh. It's going to go, that. Ugh. There we go. Fantastic. That came off just with mad grippy gloves. I'm very happy because last time I changed the oil on this, or the first time I changed the oil on this, obviously a garage had used some kind of tool to do it up with because nothing was getting the old one off. As I said, I had to put a screwdriver through the side of it and lever it off. It was awful. So, one manky old oil filter. There. It's a man one. Well, I should know, I put it on. Ugh. Once that's done, I'll show you the state of the oil because it's blacker than I would want it to be, but it's not terrible. It's just slightly darker than I want it to be. I was going to change the oil after 6 months because, you know, Rovers say 12 month service intervals, but I was going to change it after 6 months anyway because it's just better in every way. But I didn't get around to it because of that rock rubber gasket and just time as well. So it's ended up being the full 12 months and 9,000 miles? I'm not 100% sure. 9,000 miles, I think. The service interval is 12,000. So, should be okay. Right, that should do. And here it is. Dun, 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 the oil. I'll try not to spill it, but there you go. It's blacker than I'd want it to be, but it's not jet black. It's just darker than I want it to be. There is a bit of degreaser in that actually, so it's not 100% of the oil that came out of Melvin. New oil filter. It's another man filter. Rover, MG Rover Group and Land Rover. There you go. That won't quite focus, but there you go, you can read it. Entire oil filter as opposed to half of an oil filter. I suppose that's for cars with cartridge bonds where you slot in a filter to a housing. There we go, mad new oil filter, exactly the same as the old one. Yeah. So, to stop me from having a calamity like I did last time I changed the oil, I'm going to smear some of the new oil, which is 10W40, it's Shell stuff. It's good. Don't use crap oil, there's no point. You might as well spend a little bit extra money and use good oil and save your engine. Right, if I didn't show you before, there's the oil filter housing. You can see all the oil that's stripped down the front of the engine. If I angle around a little bit, I think you can see. There you go, you can see. It's an incredibly awkward angle, but there you go. Spin, 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 spin. Spin, it's going tight, going tight. There you go. That should do. Don't tighten an oil filter any tighter than hand tight because you won't be able to get it off again. So there you go. I really need to sort out that oil leak because that is not pretty. I might just slap the front of the engine with a load of degreaser and then just hose it off. A bit like I did before the MOT. Well, the MOT that didn't happen. But there we go. So again, that sump plug wouldn't really go in, and I didn't want to try and force it in case it is the wrong one. It's a different size, but the thread looks the same, and it is advertised as K-Series and L-Series diesel sump plug from an MG Rover spares place. I can't remember which one it was from, but it was from a spares place. I don't know whether they changed it or I'm just not threading it properly, but the old one went straight back on, so I thought I'd better put the old one back on with the new washer. So there we go. Prepare to watch this go absolutely everywhere. Oh shit, that is going to go everywhere. I don't have a funnel because I'm a mug. Oh, there we go. It's glugging a bit, but that's because I'm holding it the wrong way. Apparently, if you hold it sideways, it won't glug. Or you could just do it slowly. Oh, already starting to hurt. I'm a very lazy person, so standing in one position, holding something for a while isn't my forte. Oh no, 1 second of not taking care. Right, so you can't quite see me there. Let me... There we go. I'm going to leave that to drain to the bottom of the engine, and then we will check the level. Right, let's check the level, and you won't be able to see that, but that is absolutely perfect. Just over the top, and you want it to be just over the top when you're doing this because the oil filter is empty, so you want to run the car for a little bit, turn it off, check the level again because it will have gone down, most probably. Let's start him up and see if he works or not. Now, before I go and start it up, I just wanted to point out this is what hydrogas suspension does when you jack a car up. There's an enormous arch gap at the front and almost no arch gap at the back. Oh, that sounds good. Now, I wanted to do that because, oh, I just realised you weren't actually looking at the engine then. Sorry. I was starting without the choke and hoping that it wouldn't fire, but it was warm enough to fire without the choke. Because I wanted to build up oil pressure and I'm completely petrified, but I just let it go, and as soon as I actually let it run, the light went straight out, so it's all good. I just need to wait for it to drain back down to the bottom of the engine, and then I'll check the level again. I've just very nearly stepped in the drain pan. No leaks from underneath, so let's check the level again. Right, that's gone down to about half on the dipstick, so when you'll have just seen this a minute ago, but it felt 10 minutes ago for me. When I topped it up, checked the level, it was just over the max. And now that I've started it, given it a couple of revs, it is now down to about halfway, or just over halfway. So I'm going to give it a couple more glugs of oil, and then we'll start him up again. Put a bit more in, go on. Right, I will do the same thing again, wait for that to drain to the bottom of the engine, then we'll check the level, start him up, turn it off, check the level again. Right. That was... Oh, there we go. That was with no choke, so that's why it was very, very lumpy when I let it idle at the end. But, sounds okay. Doesn't sound like it's got new oil in it though. I might need to just run it a little bit to get all the old crap out and the new stuff in. So there you go. I think that will do for part 1 of Melvin's spring clean, spring adventure, spring messing about. Because I've rambled on for long enough. Next week, or actually maybe the week after, probably the week after, I will have more videos on me messing around, cleaning up the engine bay. I will be tackling some rust on the rear valance and on the A-pillar actually. A bit of rust on the A-pillar, which is a little bit concerning, but I will have that sorted. So, if you enjoyed, please click like and subscribe as well if you're feeling really generous, and I will see you again next week.